Welcome, welcome. This is your friend, your girl, Tahiri Divine. You can find me on my channels. Yeah, all my channels as Tahiri Divine. If you haven't done so, ensure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel where you will always find me, and hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified when we drop a video. Okay, so today we're talking about sex and alchemy. And this is actually one of my favorite topics. I love talking about sex. I love talking about the realms as it pertains to sexual energy, our sexual desires, our psychology, our human experience within the realms of sexuality. And today we're going to be specifically talking about sexual transmutation and alchemy through the guise of celibacy. And this is an important topic because we live in a very sex-driven world, right? There are sexes everywhere. It's in the music, it's in the television shows, it's in the TV, it's in all realms of different media outlets, social media, right? And we're being, the best word to say is that we're numb to it, but yet we still are seeking it. And for those of us that are on a spiritual path, right, you, like myself and many others, have found ourselves in a space, if this is you, where we're not as sexually active as we may desire, right? There's this desire, there's this longing, like, oh my God, where's my divine penis? Where's my divine, pussy? Where is she? Where is he? Where that? Where that? Ooh, it out, ooh, it out, hit it. Okay, we trying to get a hit out, and I want to do with this conversation, right, is to hold space for this, because there is a part of sexual transmutation and sexual alchemy where there is a call and a season, right? There's some seasonalities unto the act of acting, engaging in sex, in the sex behavior. And then there's an act of engagement or lack of engagement, right, where it calls for it to be a celibacy. And what to do when you're in a celibate phase, right? Some of us are there, particularly maybe didn't get there by choice, right? It wasn't like, oh, I chose it. And then if you did choose it, even more power to you, correct? We come to a space of celibacy, and when we're in this stage, what we typically think is not happening is that our sexual energy is not going, is that we don't have sexual energy. We're not engaging it. We're not entertaining it in no type of way. And that's not necessarily true. Now, there's two different expressions on how this energy plays out. And right now I'm going to focus on the feminine, the female expression on sexual alchemy, and what this phase, what you can do. And because of us being female, right, in this paradigm where there is a reserving of how the feminine or the female should engage in sex, right? There is this dichotomy of the Madonna whore complex that women, the feminine, the female, she needs to make peace within herself, right? It's the Eve and the Lilith dynamic. It is the wild, free woman, and then this also put together, tamed expression of herself, right? So when you're in the season, this is actually your time and space to explore the polarities that you have or feeling or experiencing, or even avoiding, because that a lot of times it's avoidance. And what you are able to do with that time, right, is to explore yourself. So what does that mean, and what does that look like when I'm saying exploring yourself? So when you're in a season of celibacy, it could be that you are celibate or abstaining from partnered sex, right? That is a thing. It can also be where you are abstaining from any type of sex. So you have to know for yourself, what realm and season are you within? And then whether it started unconsciously, not by originally your choice, and then you have just accepted it and kept it going, or whether it is by, like I said, by choice, excuse me. So what are you wanting to get out of this experience that you are currently in? And for some of us, right, it's like, I didn't really choose celibacy, it kind of chose me, and I'm just here. And during the meantime, I'm learning more about myself, right? But what do I do when I start to feel aroused or my desire kicks in? And this is where I want to talk to you all who are in that space, right? I'm not actively engaging in sex. I'm not even engaging in masturbation, right? This is where I would say, depending on what your intent is, I would recommend that you explore masturbation. But even more than just masturbating, I would recommend you to explore your own desires and what it is, your own psychology of what sexuality does for you, your own patterns and rhythms. And this is where, for those who have menstrual cycles, right? This is where your menstrual cycle is going to be important, because you are able to track yourself, your energy, your energy levels, okay, your hormonal levels, okay, and then your body temperature and everything that comes in, because everything is on a clock, all right? They call it the biological clock. It's not just your biological clock, it is your internal clock, right? Your internal lunar system. So there is a system that the feminine walks within. Some call it the 28-day cycle, some call it the lunar system, because we know from historical and archaeological fact that it was the female who used bamboo sticks to mark time as it relates to her menstrual cycle, and was able to recognize the connection with the lunar phases as far as telling time. Okay, so before we became into the Gregorian calendar and the present day 24-hour clock system that is based off the solar, right, which is more of the masculine expression, we pretty much understand ourselves. And if you don't, then take time to understand how you are in the solar clock. When are your high energy points? Where do you feel low? Where do you feel you're leveled out? Where are you solarly? And then also daily. Where is your energy levels daily? Do you feel different on Mondays versus a Wednesday? What is your energy and your mood on a Friday versus a Sunday, right? Tracking yourself. This is a time to track yourself. Period apps you can use. I'm going to compile a list, because there are some that I like and there's others I don't, mainly over privacy reasons. So I would say definitely be aware, be knowledgeable, not just aware, be knowledgeable of the terms and agreements of any period apps that you do decide to use if you want to track your period, for example. And then other measures of tracking yourself, right? And it's like, oh my God, it sounds like a lot of work. It's going to, and that's why you're in the state of learning yourself and exploring yourself. This is a state of exploration, because the reason why you want to know this information, right? A lot of times we have to be aware of what is influencing us. And there's so many things that can influence. It could be the water we're drinking, the foods that we're eating. They have these external influences will shape out our experience and shift us internally, because again, nothing is disconnected. Everything is connected to each other. Okay, so we have to understand there's no separation when you're in the all, and that is what the feminine represents. She is the all. She is the great mathematician, right? Okay, and I will talk more about that in another video on the great mathematics of the feminine and her expression, and why us as the female experience is important to know these things. So back to tracking yourself and your cycles, even tracking down your different phases, as we know to be the menstrual cycle phase is not limited just the days that you are on your actual period, right? The moon blood phase, not just those days. That is a part of the cycle, right? You also have your luteal phase. You also have your ovulation phase. You also have your follicular phase. And understanding these different phases and being aware of it, and tracking yourself, where you're making notes of yourself, of what moods you're in per day, maybe even within the hours, morning, noon, night, or however you want to break those hours up. This will start to help you better gear not just your sexual energy, but to utilize that sexual energy and fueling your creations, right? And not just also fueling your creations, also sustaining these manifestations that you're going to bring in, because it's actually what you are now doing. You are now bringing awareness to the power that you hold by knowing yourself. And now you can be aware of external influences, and now you're no longer in the second cause of it. You can go into being the first cause. And what that means is that you go from being a victim to experiences and external influences to now being the creator of influences, because you have gained awareness of yourself. So your time of celibacy, while you are there, is the time, the best time for you to explore yourself. It is going to be even the most potent time of knowing your sexual expression and how you can utilize this energy to bring better health, bring better finances, call in a mate if that's what you want to use the energy for, call in the money and the wealth and the opportunities. And then not just call it in, but also gain the clarity and the wisdom to sustain and maintain the things we call in. And even get better clarity and wisdom on what it is that you truly want and desire to experience. Because it's not even coming, you get out of a place of want into a state of desire and expectation and experience. I call it the DEE. The desire, expectation, experience, because you desire it, you expect it, and you experience it. And you are now quantum leaping and being a creator of your life and using the co-creation around you to co-create your experience, because you have taken that time and that energy to really learn and know yourself and to better harness your potency as the feminine power and the image of God, she herself. Because not only are you the image of her, you also can call down that power from within, that you are divinely sustained. You are the divine socket of energy. And it's going to be important that you have clear channels and knowing and understanding of self, right? To better utilize your sexual energy. So when you do decide to have partnered sex, right, or experience that sexual interaction or engagement, it's going to be less of external factors or less of subconscious programming factors and more of a understanding and knowing, and again, a creating experience for yourself versus being just the creation of external factors. You now get to internally create and experience your creation at the same time. So the importance of sexual celibacy, right, is the time to study yourself, learn your phases, learn what's your triggers, your influences. And triggers don't have to be negative triggers. Like, you can also find out your positive triggers. You can find out, oh, I am more energetic at this time of the day, on these days, during this phase. This would be the best time for me to do a banishing ritual, a love ritual, or a prosperity ritual, or a sustaining, maintaining ritual. Oh, I am better to connect with people at this time of my cycle, day, etc., etc. And then you are now going to shape your world the way that's more conducive for you, and your environment becomes more conducive versus you being the victim of an environment. and external factors. Well, I'm your girlfriend, your friend, TK, Tahiri Divine. You find me here on my YouTube channel and on my other social sites, which will be linked below. Ensure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you get more content about this type of information here. I would even highly recommend you join me on my mailing list, right? TahiriDivine.com. You can join my mailing list, get part of the Divine Circle, Divine Tribe, where you are going to get more content about the Divine Feminine, women's wisdom, and practical spirituality to help you up-level the journey of your life. Well, until next time, I'm your girl, your friend. Peace.